to you about a lot about the HDM solution that we have, but it would be good just to kickstart the meeting here, tell you a bit on Soft Expert and what we do.
Mhm.
We are a software company with more than 28 years in the business. So next February is going to be our 29th anniversary. And today we count, this is a bit outdated, but we count with more than 2,000 customers around the world within 50 different countries. So we are growing exponentially every year. Today we have our own businesses in all 5 continents, uh, but we have a very extensive network of uh, um, partners, just as Grant is the partners of us in New Zealand, right? That because we serve a very wide range of regulated industries. So if you name any of these industries here, we will be able to provide you with a success case. And that happens because all the software in its framework, it's designed in order to help companies to comply with different regulations.
Yep.
Uh, uh, as you will understand during the presentation, what we have here is a software that's 90% ready to use, and we are just going to talk to you, analyze what you need, and together we will then fine tune this 10% less 10% and make it work in a way that is designed to meet
Mhm.
your business needs. Well, these are some of the customers. We software goes through a very wide range of customer sizes as well. And at the end, the very last I want to show you before we want to jump into the HCM solution is the excellence puzzle, which is all the different solutions that we are providing with our customers today. So
Mhm.
depending on what you need, we will turn on or off some of the modules that we have, and we'll provide you with a specific solution.
Mhm.
So today we're going to be talking about HDM, and this is actually the live software, the look and feel of the live software. So these are all the different modules. And today, as we're talking about HDM, the Human Development Management, we will be talking a lot about
Yep.
competences. We will be talking about training. We will be talking about survey. So depending on what you need, you turn on and off the
Mhm.
performance as well, right? So said that, I'll be coming here to the presentation to the HDM. Um, Here we are going to start with the skill mapping and the competence management, right? First of all, the skill mapping would allow you to map the skills across the organization. So when we're looking, for example, a to increase the operational efficiency, we have here our required skills. So these are the skills you need, and these are the trainings that you need to assign in order to meet those skills. So you do the mapping of the competencies by functional role. So you can do that by your functional role. You can map the competencies also by the process. So, or even on an organizational level, right? So you have these 3 options here of mapping the competencies:
Mhm.
functional role, process, or organization. With that, you will also be able to create a talent pool and analyze your employees and how well they're performing in accordance to that specific uh, competence that you are mapping, right? When it comes to competence management, then we also allow you to have a matrix. And this matrix here relates to the training that is needed versus the employee. So you can check uh, how well each one of your employees are performing in regards of the trainings they are required to do. So here we see that Matthew is doing quite all right with most of the trainings, except for the communication that maybe he's overdue or something like that. So you can clearly see what is going on with each one of your employees. I can actually show you what happens in real life. Let me jump into my, okay, just trying to move another screen here. Okay, it went through. So this is my production environment. This is the one I have in SoftExpert. And when I go into training, there was a sign for trainings for me not long ago, which I still need to finish. And these are the code of conduct and ethics, personal data protection policy, information security policy, and global privacy policy. As you can see, these are 4 courses that I need to take as mandatory. All the others, they are just courses that I assign myself because I want to learn more about the system, or I want to learn more about our CRM, and I want to see what are the news that we have in the newest version of the system. And so I enroll in these courses, but these, they don't have a due date. These 4 courses, they do have a due date.
Yep.
And I need them to finish that. So anytime the HR department assign one of those courses to me, they fall into the list of to do, and the system would then control the deadline for me. We then we create a plan for actually each one of the individuals in the system. And with that, we have also the competence assessing planning, right? That can be done. We have different types of evaluators. So it could be a self-evaluation. You can have the leader of this user doing that. You can have a team member. You can have pairs, or even go through a consensus. So we have different types of evaluations that can be put on. You can actually select one of them, or even have all of them at once. And with that, you have the skills assessment for each one of the individuals. So we look in there, Tetsuo Kendo, and what are the proficiencies that he has. So the testing here would be very simple, very straightforward, I'd say. Would also allow you to create a career and succession assessment for the users. So here we know that maybe this person here, he has a potential of getting a promotion, and when this is going to happen, why this is going to happen. You have the risk of losing that person, so you can assign that as well. And if you lose it, what is going to be the impact, right? And yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask me at any time, right? So this is actually a very cool thing that I would like to show you, which is the employee profile. You can monitor each one of the employees in their profile. I'll be then going into the live software here and go into the employee profile. I'm accessing here as a manager. So as a manager, I'll have access to pretty much everything in regards to the employees, especially those that are under my umbrella. So looking at Alice, for example, I'll access her profile, and here then I can see the career and successions, the positions requirements that she has as an IT operations manager, what sorts of feedback we gave her, right? So here is like general info that we have. But good to say that we also allow you to create different attributes for that. So let's say if the information that we have here is not enough and you need
Yeah.
more info to classify the user, you can also add different attributes to do that. And then we have the career and succession here, the potential, the promotability that we mentioned, reasons that she wants to leave, or maybe she wants to leave, position requirements, feedbacks. So everything in
Yes.
regards of Alice, you will find it over here. Actually, she's assigned two different positions. So you see here, as an IT manager, she's doing quite all right. But as a sales assistant, she may be lacking on some courses and competencies, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So let me just jumping back. Oh, all right. Let's jumping back into the competence. So that's kind of the profile monitoring and how you can do that. Well, that said, we go for the individual development plan because that is going to uh, you're going to try to fill in the gaps of the competencies that you found during the evaluation. So
Mhm.
you set the competencies, you evaluate the person, and now you find out that we do have gaps and we need to address to those gaps. We would be using here a module that's called action plan. We call it the jack of all trades because it works quite well with a different number of modules. So when we're
Okay.
doing the kappa, for example, we would address the problems found in the cause analysis using the action plan. When you're evaluating risks and the risks are high and you need to address that risk or maybe improve the control, you would also use the action plans for that. And it's not different when we are trying to address the gaps that we have in the competence assessment here. So you found the gap, you then going to assign an action plan to that person, maybe not to the person specifically that you are, assessing, but maybe to the training organizer, so the person responsible for the trainings, to create a specific training for to
Yeah.
meet a specific demand, or even to just say to Tetsuo Kendo, Mr. Kendo, you need to improve in these and that and those skills, and then you will assign here tasks to that person. So we have here English course, the black belt, creativity, and you assigned in deadlines for that,
Mm-hmm.
and he will have to go through that as well, right? When you do that, I do the planning. So maybe here it's going to be done by a leader. HR is going to approve, and the employee is going to execute.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Uh, all these tasks then will be controlled by the system itself, and it's very easy and straightforward to execute the task. So you go there, say when you started, when you finished,
Mm-hmm.
what is the result, and moves on, right? And you can also follow up to see if the person that was supposed to execute this task,
Mm-hmm.
if they executed on time or not.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. Uh, that
Yeah.
then links it to the training, right? Because when you feel that someone needs to finish, needs to improve on something, they need to go through trainings.
Yes.
So we do have this matrix that I have already showed you here. You plan the trainings, adding new participants to the trainings. You can also predict how much this training is going to cost, what would
Yeah.
be the content of the trainings. And here the content can be pretty much anything. It could be a video, could be a PPT, a PDF. I mean, anything could be content to the training. Uh, Once you define here how this training is going to be, you can go through another phase, which is the reservation of the resources. If this training is done presentially, so then you say, where is it going to happen? What time does it start? What time does it finish? What kind of materials you would need? And then creates a training calendar so you know and you can follow up to all the
Yeah.
trainings that are happening at real time, when they started, when they finished. By clicking here, you would then access the training and you know, like, if it's a e-learning, how many people have already enrolled and finished the training. So you would be keeping up with the training execution. You would know exactly how much percent it was uh, executed or not, right? Cost management is also present here. So you plan the training, you execute the training, and you need to close it when the training is finished. And when you do that, you'll be able to say if the costs of the training were exactly as planned or not, right? Another thing that we have is the evaluation. And that evaluation can be done in two ways, right? One way is evaluation of the trainee itself. So how well this person or how much
Yeah.
this person actually acquired on the information, right?
Yeah.
And the other one is the trainee evaluating the training itself. Was it a relevant training? Do we need to improve what was missing? So this kind of feedback is also possible,
Yeah.
right? So this is an example of a training effectiveness verification. So the one I just showed you that is in my to-do list, when I finish, I'll have to fill out a survey, a test,
Yes.
just like this one. And I have a minimum grade that I need to reach, right? Then that goes to the LMS, so the learning management system.
Yeah.
And here we have all different courses that are available. And I can have another tab with the courses that are in progress.
Yeah.
Here, it's very easy. You go there, you select the training that you want to take, you enroll in the training, and you start the training itself. If this is a e-learning training like this one. For some trainings, for example, in SoftExpert, we have some prerequisites. So you cannot start, let's say, document configuration without going through general requirements. So you need to go general requirement first, and then you go document configuration, right? This is an overview of the ongoing processes, the tab that I mentioned to you. And it's always monitoring the progress of the courses that you're taking, right? So these one, it's only missing 34%, is the travel request procedure, maybe the last one, and he's done, right? The trainee reaction, as I told you, like you as a trainee evaluating the training quality itself. And here is the evaluation of the training.
Yeah.
When you finish the training, the system would provide you with a certificate. So every training will generate a certificate. And you can also have in an external portal, so for an external user, uh, you can allow them to access trainings as well. So let's say you have a visitor coming into your factory and they
Yes.
need to go through a security training before they enter the facilities. So you could just ahead of time give them the link, the password, the users, and the access before
Mhm.
they arrive into the company, saving you time.
Yeah.
I visited a few companies, and sometimes you kind of have like
Yeah.
you lose half of the day just preparing to enter the facilities. But if you have such training in advance, maybe you don't need that. Then we go for the talent management, right? So it's like the 9 box matrix. So you have here the person that is a star and the person that's underperforming,
Mhm.
how many of our employees are falling into each one of these categories here, and what can you do actually to improve, right? To
Yeah.
improve their position. So here you can also assign risks, right, to users. So what kind of impact if you lose this person we will have. And this is the career and succession potential matrix.
Yes.
So you see here who has a potential of getting a promotion, the promotion management. So here we're looking at promotability
Mhm.
and what how many years we will need for him to be ready for a new position.
Yeah.
Here is then the individual analysis of the employees, their competences, the courses they're taking,
Mhm.
and the competences rater as well. Where does he
Mm.
need to improve? But we can see actually that he's doing quite all right.
And some of the behaviors that we want to embed can be enhanced through this as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and also it's good to mention that, and thank you for this hook, Grant, is that you can add things here. So it's not like a static. What you see is not actually uh, static. You can change, you can customize some of
Mhm. Mhm.
this. Remember when I told you that the system is 90% ready, the other 10% we will do together with you. So we do
Yeah.
have ways of improving it in here as well. Well, I think that the only thing that we have left is the performance management. And so we'll enter this, that we are going to be aligning here the targets, right, of the
Mhm.
organizations, the objectives with the users themselves, right?
Yes.
Uh, it's quite easy and straightforward to, have defined targets and add the measurements, not only for the company, but also for the employees indicators. So
Mhm.
you create, this is an example of customer service call center. You have here the indicators that we need, percentage of successful
Mhm.
calls, and the number of complaints that are received. So then you have each one of the users, you have the target, and you have the measurement, right?
Yes.
And you go through each one of them. So a similar approach, of course, depending on each business, we would have as well. So, like if it's a sales representative, uh, then we would like him to have the number of, successful deals or something like that,
Mhm.
right? So that is customizable as well, right?
Mm.
So, and then when you're looking at the person, profile, you would be able to see how well is he performing according to all the indicators that are associated to him,
Yeah.
right? So it's also easy to uh, allow the management to see all that into an indicator and display that into portals. I'll be showing you that, as well as you can also assess that through a mobile application. So if you are on the go, you can also access. Now I'm jumping into the system itself. Grant and I, we put together here this some of the indicators that he shared with me. And so we have here the customer results, the satisfaction of the customer, subsidiary satisfactions, and how well each one of these indicators are performing. So I can just select one of these indicators, open the summary on this side, and I'll have an idea on how well this indicator is performing over the time.
Yes.
So for the last year, how well this indicator is performing. So we have the target established here and how well it's performing over time.
Okay. Yeah.
I can look each month as well, right? So this is the higher the better, but we also have here the lower the better.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
So these indicators, the lists, the way they're measured. I mean, we can be very creative, I can say, right? On how to do that. What I used here was just an idea, but we can be very creative on these ideas.
So yeah, everybody in the leadership team could have access to this balanced scorecard dashboard, and it just needs somebody to update the data from the surveys. For example, when we survey the subsidiaries on their satisfaction, and we can see the trend. And then the other thing is when there's a trend down below the target, we can initiate some action to close the gap, and then we can make sure that the execution isn't relying on emails and isn't relying on
And actually, Anya, what Grant said is like if you're using, for example, the surveys that we provide you with, that would be even easier to get the readings. I'll just show you one example here, because what I'm doing for this presentation, the portal that I put together, we're just talking about manual inputting of the targets. But what we can do, we can use formulas to do that. And when you're using the formulas, I can say that instead of doing it manually, I want the system to create, for example, a way to pull data from the analytics. Analytics, so you understand, is a tool that we have that can create all different graphics and visions for you. So let me say, you send the service to your subsidiaries. They answer the service. The results of this service will be there in the analytics module.
Okay.
And then we just pull the data from analytics. You search here, what is the vision that you want to have, right? What is the field from that? What's the number that you want to take from that vision? And that is going to be the measurement. So it's you send the survey, they answer the survey, when they do that, the indicator is automatically updated, right? So we have many ways of actually automating this for you. Another thing is that you can also link to these indicators here events. What do I say about events? Let's say that you established a target, the measurement is below the target, you need someone to answer for that. So what is going to happen now that you are below the target?
Yes.
So you say, Grant is the responsible for this indicator. The indicator is below target. Grant, what would you do? What is your action plan?
Yeah.
Right. And the system would assign as a task for Grant to plan an action plan and say, how is he going to solve the problem? Right.
Yeah. So another example of how we could automatically update the measures is if we have an order in ERP at the moment, Anya, it can be changed by anybody in the planning team. They can just change it, the date.
Yes.
That is, if we put process in place so that they have to create a workflow to change the date as part of our processes and policies, then when they create that change in SoftExpert using the workflow engine, it generates the data. So whenever they create one of these, we count them and we know that that's a change of an order. And if we get them to put in the product group that's on that order change, we can then say how many have been rescheduled after the confirmed date, and that feeds back into our balanced scorecard through that mechanism that Roger showed. So it can feed itself if we set it up. Yeah, but in the short term, if we don't have that built, we just put it. Someone just enters the data in manually, like a short-term fix.
Okay. The next part I want to show you is how then you create the analysis itself. We're looking here at the analytics tool. It's pretty much like a way of creating visions, and these visions can be exported and then posted into the portals, or you can just use that as a way of extracting the information and populating the measurements of an indicator, for example. So you come over here and you have here the columns. You say, let's say I want to see the name, I want to see the status, the unit of measurement, and then you have the measurements themselves. So I want to see the measurement, and you apply, you update, and you have here the vision. So the name of the indicator, the status, the unit of measurement, and the measurement itself. And now, if you want to change the way you display that, you can display that into a column, to a Pareto. I mean, you can create virtually any kind of a vision, right? Using the analytics, because what I'm showing you now is just relating to indicators, but there's always a way to relate this information with other data available in the system. So we always say is that if it's in the system, we can create a query that can put all this data into one single vision for you as well. Right.
I think the important sort of strategic advantage here is that all of the operational data is in one data source.
That's right.
It's not in 6 or 7 or 8 databases. So you don't need your IT team to write reports for you from this application and connect this, Obviously, you've got your ERP system, which will stay in place. We might change that at some point in the 5 years or something, I don't know. But we can actually capture data from the ERP as well and integrate the information. So we can take customer orders from your ERP and put them onto the Kappa, so when we're changing the order, we can put the order information and take it straight from the ERP, so the KA number can come across to SoftExpert. But again, there's a lot we can do without integrating to ERP as well in next year's plan.
I just came here to show you yet another possibility of how you would be extracting information from the workflow, for example. And then you can have the instance analysis, the activity history, all that can be then transferred into the portal itself. So
Yes.
when we're looking at this portal here, I can come over here, edit the portal, select any kind of analysis I created in the work, related to my workflows, for example. And once I do that, I just drag and drop over here. That is actually about the documents. So we're looking at a vision that was drafted for the documents. We have the ID, the titles, the author, the category, the status of the revision, and the document status as well.
Yeah.
Right. And so once you finish creating the visions, you just come over here, drag and drop, and then you have everyone with the access to this portal accessing the information of this vision as well. It's very easy to transfer the knowledge and the information that is circling around the system.
Yep.
Well, to finish here the presentation on the HDM, I feel like the only thing we have left to show you now is the document management, which is a part of how you manage your content and how you transfer the knowledge as well. I told you that we are almost 29 years in the business, and this was our first module. So everything started with the document management. And then from there, we progressed, we created all these other 40 plus different modules. But here you'll be able to classify documents into categories. You would be able to go through the whole revision cycle of the documents, from drafting, reviewing, approving, and releasing the documents. This revision route here, it can be defined by you, so you can say how many people you want to have involved in the drafting, how many people are part of reviewing, approving, releasing, all that. A good thing is that you can link the document release, for example, to a training. So when you are releasing the document, you can require that a formal training is to be put in place, so everyone knows that the new document was released in the first place, and people that needs to get trained would also get trained, right? The documents can be then associated to processes. They can be associated to indicators. So there's also the beauty of the system that everything is linked, everything is connected. And if you link this document to a process, to an indicator, to a risk, to a project, the moment you have this document updated, it will get updated everywhere, right? So you always be accessing the latest version of the documents as well.
Just go back at one screen a sec, Rod. So the frame agreements, if we get approval to go ahead with this, Anya, we can get the frame agreements uploaded in here. And then this flow is basically what it could look like, right? Is whenever the agreement's due for renewal, we'll get a reminder as many weeks or months ahead of that renewal. And then the document gets refiled, and then it would go through a review process with HR, finance, and we'll have certain people in those roles depending upon the size of the of the agreement, so on the cash value of the agreement. So your delegations of approval can be controlled by a process automatically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Taking that into consideration, like the workflow engine just allows you to create all sorts of, automated process. We talk a lot about, Kappa possibilities. We talk about, but it's not only that. It could be used for hiring request, for example, and we use that internally for a new hiring. It could also be for travel expenses. It could be used for so many different things. We even have in Soft Expert a request of to the company's key. So if you need to stay longer or get there earlier, and you need the company key, so you have a way of automating the process in that way as well. So you can be very creative. That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
And conservatively, I think there's a 30 to 40% reduction in labor costs for every document.
I can imagine.
It's scary how much time people spend looking for documents and picking up emails. That, right?
No, I wouldn't know that.
Even taking this hook again from Grant, I think you can see my screen here. So I'm back into my production environment, and the system has this quick access, the shortcut to my favorite documents, for example. So every document that I feel like is important for me, I make it as my favorite, and so it's very easy to access. I want to see the solutions catalog. Come over here, view the electronic file. It just pops up in here, the document for me. I can, if I am allowed, I can download the document or I can print it. So here is an example of a document I am allowed. So I can download the PDF. I can print the document, but if I wasn't allowed to do so, I could just view it and that's it, right? So the document would be available for me to view. But this is, as Grant said, it's very handy. So every time I have a new document and I have 2 publications, for example, let's see. And they are relevant to me. I feel like, oh, this one I can use in the future. This is something that, let's say, this one is good. I just make it favorite, and that's it, right? Next time I access my favorite documents, they will be there.
Yes.
Okay. I think we've shown you a lot, so and I said at the beginning, it's really, there's much more to it than this, but obviously we just want to give you a sense of the power of the
it's
platform.
brilliant.
And you can manage your competencies, and we can put all your balance scorecards in there and your goals, and you can assign them to people or to teams of people, and it can automatically update if we've got controls in the system and workflows in the system or surveys that we're sending out. We can update that data automatically, and training management and document management and many other things that we haven't showed you today. And the analytics as well, when you don't need to go to Kevin and his team to ask for reports once you've been trained. I mean, literally 2 hours of training